Hello, everyone. Welcome. If Latoya was here, she would say, "Hello, coaches." Latoya is not with us tonight, but you have me, so we're going to rock out tonight as if she was here. I'm sure she'll probably be in the comments. I'm sure she'll probably send me a few text messages, just to say or add value. So she's not physically here, but we know that she's here. So if this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Coach My Life Weekend Coaches Conversation. So for the last few weeks, we have been meeting with the coaches every Tuesday and Thursday who will be participating and presenting or facilitating workshops at the Coach My Life Weekend. So we've had the pleasure of course, meeting with our founder and our vision coach, Latoya Early, where she will be talking about winning after the broke mindset, how to overcome that and what does winning look like after we know what it feels like to have lack, but what words should we be using differently? What should we be doing so that we can win after we've been broken? We talked to our dad coach, Demetrius Early, and he talked to us about winning after abandonment. We've met with our grief coach, Elise Perry, where we talked about winning after diagnosis. And then we talked to Miss Sandra, Coach Sandra, our forgiveness coach, where we talked about winning after betrayal. And tonight, we are going to be continuing with our coaches conversations, and we're going to be talking to our very own Latresa Rice, our mindset coach, where we will be talking about winning after bereavement. If you are joining us in the audience, come on in. You know how we do. We want you to introduce yourself. Just say hello to us. Hello, Miss Sandra. We see that you're there. Coach Sandra, say hello to us, talk to us. We want you to participate in this conversation because this is not just about us. This is about you. So if you're in the audience, give us a thumbs up, give us some hearts, give us some comments. Hey, Facebook user, so we know that you're there. Of course, what I tell you. Hey, Toya. I knew she would be in the comments and in the audience. If this is your first time with us, or if you are coming back, let me introduce myself. My name is Jasmin. I am a client success coach for Chase Great, and I am the concierge for the conference. And the conference that we're talking about is the weekend, the Coach My Life weekend, which is December 3rd through the 5th. And I am so excited to be here. I don't have my partner in crime, so it feels a little bit different without having her. But we are so glad that you're here with us tonight. And if you are with us tonight, go ahead and tag some people who you know could benefit from this conversation. Again, tonight we're talking about winning after bereavement. So if you or someone you know has had a loss, then you want to be here for this conversation. I'm so excited to bring up our coach because although it's fun to talk to you guys, I don't want to do this by myself and I can't do this by myself. So I would like to bring up our coach for the evening, Miss Latresa Rice.
Awesome. Woo! Hey, y'all. I hope you're
Hey.
having a fantastic day. What's going on?
What's up? So let me give you guys a very brief introduction of our coach, Miss Latresa Rice. She was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, and she is a mindset coach. She is an author and a licensed master social worker and motivational speaker. She has received her dual bachelor's degree with honors in psychology and communication, which means she can talk and get you together at the same time. She from 2013 to 2015, she was the delegate for the delegate for the precinct 5 in the city of Westland, and in 2009 she established It's Time Enterprises, a motivational speaking company dedicated to empowering others to overcome the barriers they face in life and possess their dreams. Currently, she's writing 3 books.
Woo!
I listen, 3 books. So currently she's writing 3 books, building her mindset coaching therapeutic business called Royal Clarity View LLC, and So yeah, she's be doing the most. And she is preparing to record a new song that was previously written and sang to her that she previously written and sang to her husband during their wedding in 2019 prior to his untimely death from COVID-19. She is a firm believer that no matter what you go through, God is always present and willing to help you get through it. You just have to look for the light in every situation. Ladies and gentlemen, Latresa Rice.
Wow. Thank you so much for having me. I am Latresa Rice, your mindset coach. I help bereaved Christians regain hope by rediscovering their identity and healing through writing. I'm excited to be here.
So listen, I knew that this was going to be energy packed because this is you. And the crazy thing is, but we have to still be good, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Some kind of way when we get together, especially on our one-on-one calls, how they always can migrate. So we're going to stay on target.
All right.
Task. We're still going to have some fun though because it's us. We got to.
Yes, come on.
All right. So I'm super, super, super excited. So right before we came on, we know that your workshop is winning after bereavement.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy because right before we came on, we talked about how you are yet in the season of bereavement.
That is so true. I mean, yesterday I was looking at a post and found out that my uncle died, and I was at work. I started bawling. My supervisor sent me home, and I got back. I got home, and I was like, nope, we're not doing nothing else today but dealing with you, boo. So I took it as a mental health day where I just started looking at more devotionals. I started worshiping God. I started praying for family members and started praying for my nephew, my brother who was super close to my uncle, those key people. Because one thing about it, what I realize is the longer I stay in that position, the more somebody else who needs what I have to offer can't get it. So I said, I need to stay here. I need to deal with myself because I love my uncles. I had to deal with myself. But at the same time, I need to pray for somebody else. I'm an intercessor. This is what I do. So I said, okay, here we go. So, all right. At the time in which I'm supposed to be preparing to talk about winning after bereavement, and I dealt with the healing period with regards to the loss of my husband and my grandmother, and there's so many other significant losses that I've had over my lifetime. So I've dealt with that. So what other way can an enemy come in and try and get you off track than to have you deal with the very thing right in the moment?
It was that part.
What God has brought you through. The enemy will cause you to have to deal with the very thing that you're going to have to speak about in the moment. Can you deal with that thing and still fulfill your assignment? So I had to pray and ask God to empower me to deal with my grieving, to deal with the bereavement, and follow through and do the assignment that He has given me, despite it all. So you got to take some time for you, but at the same time, there's still a mission that needs to be fulfilled. Are you willing to do it?
Absolutely. So I love that you said, and I'm glad you repeated it. I don't know if you've seen my hand do the rewind. I mean, you got to rewind that part. You saw me.
I missed it.
Okay. Rewind that part because I think that was so critical. Like the very thing that you're called to do, the very assignment. Like I'm here to help somebody else understand how to win after bereavement.
Yes.
This is what I'm here to do tonight. This is what I'm going to be doing at this conference. But while I'm preparing to come on here, then literally I'm going to go through what I'm trying to help you through again.
Come on.
Again. And so the word again is important for the people to understand in your regards because this is an again thing for you, right? Again. So talk about what made you, because I know that you are a mindset coach and your topic is winning after bereavement, but what made you solidify your expertise in this area? Like what happened that brought you here?
Woo! So, okay, here we go. I met my husband through Facebook Messenger. He slid in the DMs. This was in March of 2018. So we recorded from March of 2018 up until October 19th of 2019, where we actually got married. He lived in Columbia, South Carolina. So it was a long distance relationship. He would travel here, I would travel there. And whenever he came here, he had this bracelet that he would give me, and like, just remember me until I come back and I'll get it back from you. So we were passing this bracelet back and forth, right? So then after the wedding, he moved here. So now we're married. We moved into this home. We're talking about having children. You know, of course, every marriage has its struggles. So we got our struggles even in the middle, in the midst of this, but there's still the bliss that's present. And then in February 2020, the grandmother who raised me, because my mother died when I was 7 from AIDS. My dad died in 2011, but the grandmother who raised me died in February of 2020. I was devastated. I'm just gonna be real with you, because this is my heartbeat. This is my ace, you know, my number one supporter, if you will. And when she died in February 2020, I remember my husband telling my grandmother, you know, you don't have to worry about Teresa, I got her. And she said, because that's just how she is. Because to her, one of the things she's always taught us is you do your best not to make promises about things that you have no control over.
Absolutely.
And so he said, you ain't got to worry, I got her. And she's like, because she said one thing about it is we don't know what tomorrow brings. And so that's something you don't have control over. So she really didn't latch on to that, if you will. Well, here comes COVID-19's raggedy tail. I'm gonna say that. Here comes COVID-19. And my husband dies from COVID-19 in April 2020. I was distraught, devastated. I went through the period of being angry with God, hurt, not understanding. You know, I'm like, Lord, 5 months of marriage, really? What's up? Like, this is what we doing? You know, so I'm real. I'm one of those realists. When I'm talking, I'm praying to God. He knows his daughter. So I'm talking to God about how I feel. I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm hurt. And I go through that period. And then the next thing I do is some other steps that I talk about. I plan to talk about during the workshop. Some other steps that I took in the healing process. First things first, I decided that I would not just say I'm crushed. I would say I'm on my healing journey to wholeness. I called it something different than what I felt at the time. Because a lot of times when we lose someone we love, we dwell on the negative emotion, or we dwell on the pain of it at that moment. But you're going to need to call it something different if you're going to step in your kingdom authority. So how did I get to the place of design or developing Royal Clarity View LLC? That was birthed through God. After I finally got through that healing journey, and it's still a process. There are still moments that you may have. There's different things that may remind you of the person, but you can still have a lot of joy in the midst as you go through the healing process. For me, after I got through the most intense phases of it, and I didn't mention this part, but I'm going to go ahead and drop it in here, because of the intensity of the depression and the things that I dealt with at that time. My doctor said I experienced a hysterical pregnancy. I was looking pregnant. I had all the different pregnancy symptoms. However, there was no baby. I had to have an ultrasound. I had to have all these different tests done. There was no baby. And I went and got a therapist myself. I am a licensed clinical therapist, LMSW, right? I went and got a therapist myself to work through the natural component. I was praying, but I was also working with the natural. And that's when I started. And also the doctor prescribed a diet that dealt with what the body was producing in response to what the mind was causing it to think. She said, well, what was the last thing you all talked about? So, well, my husband and I were talking about having children. Wow. Oh. So when you go through those type of stages and you're broken, the body doesn't realize that, no, ain't no baby. It says, wait a minute, this is the last thing we were doing. I'm crushed, I'm hurt. So I'm going to cause the body to start producing excess gas, to cause you to start feeling all these symptoms that make you look like you're pregnant and feeling pregnant. And it was just really stressful.
So I want to stop you, because you are saying so much, and I want to make sure that we can chunk this out a little bit. So for you've been dealing with loss since 7. Yeah. Said your mother died at 7 of AIDS.
She did. And we were told she died of pneumonia. And I discovered it was AIDS.
Okay. And then you lost your father in 2012.
Right.
And then your grandmother, who raised you from 7, You lost her in February of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And then your husband of 5 months, you
5
lost
months
him in April
of
of
2020.
2020. The
Yeah,
man who said to your grandmother, "Don't worry, I got her."
I got her.
So he
Yeah,
told her, "Don't worry, I got her."
yeah.
You lost your husband 2 months
Mhm.
later.
Absolutely.
And so
Terrible.
that caused, I'm sure, the downward spiral of it all, where it was the depression, and
Mhm.
you said the hysterical pregnancy, um
Yes.
but out of, because it sounds like out of all of those things you were pregnant. This hysterical
Yeah.
pregnancy was happening, but you were pregnant, and so from that you birthed Royal Clarity.
Come on here with the
you
spiritual.
you see that thing, you see how I
I
put that.
see it. I see it. I see
Because
you there.
I heard you say like I was hysterically pregnant, but God
Woo!
used all of those moments to actually birth. You actually did produce, and you
Yes.
birthed something from out of all of that grief. So out of that grief came Royal Clarity View.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you this. I was, during that period, I was still on social media.
Mhm.
I was using it as a tool to help me heal in the process. But I would also watch some of Latoya, my Coach Latoya
Mhm.
Early. I would watch some of her videos. I think it was like Maximize Your Monday. I think those were the ones I was watching. So I was watching the videos. I'm like, okay, but I'm not a coach. You know, in my mind, I'm not a coach. But
Mhm.
this is interesting because
Mhm.
I love to learn. So I'm like, this is interesting, but I'm not a coach. And I remember praying about, what would you have me to do? Okay, Lord, we on good terms now. I forgive you. I forgive myself. I forgive him. We on good terms. What would you have me to do now? And that is when he had me sign up with the class, the Chase Great. It's Chase Great University. Had
Yes.
me sign up at the right at that time. And from there, I'm like, okay, I'm here. So I've been a public speaker for years. So you want me to be a public speaking coach? Certainly. Sure. You know, I'm certain that's what you would like me to do.
Okay, the
And
easy
in my
route.
prayer time, yeah, I just knew he was going to say public speaking coach. And I'm like, Lord, I've done public speaking classes. I've even gone to Dale Carnegie. I've done all this different stuff. Certainly it's public speaking. So I prayed about it. And he said, no, it's bereavement. What? Wait a minute, bereavement. I don't want to talk about that.
Mhm.
I remember going back and forth with the Lord, but I said, no, I don't want to do that. What? Why can't it just be a book? Can I just stick with the books? Because again, that's another behind the scenes. Can I just stick with the books?
You didn't want the front.
They're like,
It,
no.
so I'm gonna say this. I love that. So one of the things, if you are Chase Great University coach, or if you are not Chase Great University coach, and you're looking to coach, you may want to come on board and join us. But I want to say this. One of the things that Latoya always says to us is, what you've been called through is what you've been called to. So the area that you're supposed to help people is usually the area that you went through. And it sounds like God has been dealing with you in the area of bereavement since you
Woo.
were 7 years old.
Yes,
You've
yes,
been
yes.
dealing with that since you were seven. I want to say this. I want to go back a little bit, because one of the things that you said that I thought was amazing, and it's so funny because this is what God has been working with me on today after one of our calls on Monday, is we have to keep, you said, although I was dealing with the spiritual side of what was happening and I was praying, I had to go deal with the practical side of it. I had to go get the therapy side of it. And I think sometimes we forget that there is a spiritual side and then there's the practical side of it. And when I
Mm-hmm.
say that, I mean that we are a spirit that
Come
lives in
on.
the body, that possesses
Mm-hmm.
the soul. And so
Uh-huh.
we are spirit and flesh. We are spirit and human. And so we forget that sometimes for total healing, we have to deal with the flesh, the body, the
Yes.
practical side of it, and we have to deal with the spiritual side of it for total healing. Because if you only deal with the spiritual side of it, it's
Mm-hmm.
unbalanced. If
It's,
you only deal with the practical side of it, there is an unbalance. So you have to deal with both the spiritual side and the practical side, because you are both spirit and body. And so you
absolutely.
did that. And so it was crazy because I heard you say how my body was pregnant, but I wasn't pregnant. It's
Mm-hmm.
because your body was showing you what you were in the spirit. You were spiritually pregnant.
We I'm gonna
So
tell you this though, Jazz. It felt like another loss.
mm,
Because
when,
again, I was looking as if I was 6 months pregnant.
mm,
If I when I put these pictures in this upcoming book, it was crazy. I was looking as if I was 6 months pregnant. I had the nausea. I had all the other symptoms. I felt movement. I'm listening to the stuff on my. It was crazy, but not being physically pregnant. So then when they finally did the ultrasound, they said, "No, you're not physically pregnant. We do see a fibroid, but you're not physically pregnant." It felt like another loss. I got hit with. Here we go. A third loss in this one period. So I was just outdone.
you were
But I
outdone.
love the spiritual component that you're talking about here because I wouldn't even connected that part. I was pregnant at that time,
You were, yeah. Because
looking naturally, but was spiritually pregnant.
another loss. Another loss that it looked like another loss. And God said, I'm going to take that loss. I'm going to birth something out of this moment. So in this moment, when I got to deal with my grandmother, my husband, and what felt like I would be able to birth something out of my marriage, which I thought would have been a child. God said, you're going to birth something out of that thing. It just won't be the child that you thought it was going to be. It's going to be this child. This is the baby you're going to push. This is what you're going to birth out of all of those things. And so out of all those things, we got Royal Clarity View.
Yes.
Book. We got Coach Latresa.
Yes,
Coach Latresa, who is a mindset coach who thought she was about to come on here and be like, let me teach you how to work the stage. Let me teach you how to articulate your words. Let me teach you how to engage your audience. And instead of those things, God said, no, baby, everything I put you through, I push you through it to help her through it.
Ooh, yes. And see, another part of that, I'm glad we talked about doing the natural. It took me a minute to do the natural. Mm-hmm. He said it, but it took me at least a month or two before I even reached out to do the natural part about getting a therapist because I am a therapist. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, I don't need somebody to counsel me. I have my full license. Why would I pay somebody to counsel me?
Ooh, come on. Look at your face, too.
I'm telling you, that's where I was at. I said, I'm going to read this counselor upside down. Nuh-uh. But then things got worse. I remember having the thoughts of not wanting to live, all the different stuff, wanted to keep it as dark as possible, leaving both of their things, my grandmother's things and my husband's things stacked up in this room. Everything was the same way. It was a disarray. And I'm like, I'm not calling a therapist. I had to humble myself. First of all, I had to repent. Said, God, okay, you're telling me to do something. And then it keeps coming from other key people in my life. And I'm like, they really don't know what they're talking about because they're not a therapist. I'm a therapist already. Well, I'm going to get a therapist. That's where I was at. But I said, you know what, God? I repent. I got to get rid of pride. Mm-hmm. I need to get a therapist, and I'm going to need to get a good therapist because I know me. Mm-hmm. If the person is not good, I'm probably
going to call you out.
I'm going to call you out, and I'm done with these services. Mm-hmm. So I spoke to a really close friend of mine who's an owner of the first agency in which I was employed with. I still work contractual with her every now and then, First Family Counseling. So I spoke with her and asked her for a referral. Mm-hmm. Like, sis, I got you. So now you know me. She said, I know you. I got you. So she sent me a referral, and it was one of the best decisions that I made.
And I love that because, again, and this is, when I say this is literally, God knows what he's doing. Yes. Because this part of understanding both sides of the healing spectrum, that's how I look at it, literally came from last night's Monday group call. Where it literally came from last night's group call where we had one of our coaches was saying, when I listen to the coaches, some of them want to work on the practical side. Like I want to work on, the body. I want them to be able to understand it from this perspective and maybe not so much the spiritual side. It's there, but maybe not. And then some of our coaches are saying, no, I want to work on the spiritual side because that's where you're going to get what you need to get. But it's like, no, you need both components for complete healing, or it will be unbalanced, and then there'll be unstable results, right? Yeah. Because that's why we go back so much in our minds where we struggle sometimes with saying, I feel good today, but then tomorrow I'm back here because there's an area that didn't get filled. So I've been praying, I've been believing God, I've been reading my word, and the scripture says, and I'm standing on the word, and you've been able to kind of reconnect with God and reestablish that relationship and those type of things. But then I'm still got to deal with my flesh. If I don't deal with the flesh, if I don't deal with the body, if I don't deal with, the body, because again, we're spirit and the body that possesses the soul. If I don't deal with the body, then that's going to keep showing up. So there's going to be an unstable results is going to present itself. So I love how you said, Jazz, I was fighting to get to the practical side. I knew I was fighting. It was a fight in me because I do this.
Come on, pride was in the way.
Come on, pride. I do this. I help other people through this. So I got to be able to heal myself. Physician, heal thyself. I ain't gonna put it out there, but I got to be able to heal myself. But the difference is you knew enough to ultimately know that you needed help. And so I always say that even as a coach, and I see my co-host in the audience. Every coach needs a coach, and every therapist needs a therapist, because you cannot do it for yourself. Absolutely. You have to have both, and so that's why I love what we do here at Chase Great, is because we make sure that there is some practical. Come on here. Spiritual, because we understand when we talk about, as coaches, we're here to solve a problem, right? Our purpose is solution. We provide a solution for the people that are called to us. And so I love what we do at Chase Great. So let me take a moment and pause right there, because if you are not registered for the weekend, December 3rd through the 5th, you want to be there. Like, this conversation is a regular Latresa and Jasmin conversation, but this is a glimpse into what you're going to get at that conference. This is a glimpse, because I think even hearing just what you're talking about in your journey is enough for somebody to say, I need that. I need that. So what I do want you to tell us right now is, what can the attendees, talking to them, what can they expect from your workshop during the weekend?
From my workshop, you can expect to experience an aspect of healing. Mm-hmm. You can expect to be challenged in your thinking. You can expect solutions with regards to those who are looking to write, because listen, there's healing in the pen. Ooh. Those who are ready to walk in the authority that writing actually possesses and gives you to actually heal through writing. So you're going to get some tips and strategies to how to write your story and write it with power.
Absolutely. I know. So I'm not going to give it away, y'all, but I know a little bit about what's happening. I won't tell you. I will tell you to be there, because this isn't. So if you have ever had to deal with bereavement or a loss, see, sometimes, what I want you to tell us, because sometimes I don't think that we recognize the behaviors, right? The trauma that's associated and or connected with bereavement. We don't necessarily understand that these particular behaviors shows that you haven't completely healed in the area of that loss, or you haven't been able to overcome that loss. So what are some things that, to the people who are listening in or watching, who may not recognize that, hey, wait a minute, she's talking to me. What are some behaviors or things that they may be doing that they may recognize in themselves once you say it, to let them know that, hey, you want to be there for this, because this is an area you're still dealing with?
Absolutely. If you find yourself, God has called you to write your story, but you find yourself avoiding writing anything, you probably need to be there. Mm-hmm. If you are irritable almost every other day, at least 4 days out of the week, you're irritable and you don't even know why, you need to be there. If you walk past someone, let's say this person hurt you, or they did not come to the funeral of your loved one, and you're angry every time you see this person, you need to be there. Mm-hmm. If you are avoiding opening up your mail, because you really don't want to see what the bills are. You don't want to see all the different things that have been coming, because when you were going through your process, it was just even more stress. You need to be there. because guess what? God has given you kingdom authority, and it's you will be able to walk it out as you walk in your healing. You're on a healing journey to wholeness. It matters what you call a thing, but you have to take the steps.
Absolutely. So if you heard anything that may have sound like things that you are experiencing, things that you may be doing, things that you may be avoiding, these could be rooted in the what's the word? There's a word I'm looking for. It's an unword, but I'm not even going to try to worry about it. These could be rooted in your bereavement, in your inability to have dealt with the loss. So we want to make sure that you are able to win after that bereavement. We want to position you after this conference to understand that, yes, this happened, but I can still win. Yes, this happened, but there's still more life for me. Yes, this happened, but I have to honor this person, and I can honor this person and still live. And I think sometimes people get so caught up in not wanting to live for wholly because I don't want it to be like I forgot about them. I
Yes.
don't want people to think that I moved on too quickly, because if I do that too fast, if I heal too fast, then people are going to think I really didn't care, I really didn't love them, or things like that. So if those are things that you have maybe thought or you have experienced, again, you want to be at the Coach My Life weekend. You want to
Absolutely.
be there December 3rd through the 5th. And I
Woo!
want you to recognize that we spell week, WEAK, because these may be areas where you have had a little bit of weaknesses in. These may be areas where you've been weak in. But by the time you leave this conference, we are going to change your A to an E, and you'll no longer be weak. This is the weekend where the week ends for you.
Come
And
on here.
conference, you'll be able to win, and you'll be. And I just, what's so funny? I look forward to all of the testimonials of the people coming in saying, "I didn't know I could do.
Woo!
I didn't know what life could be. I didn't know that this was waiting for me on the other side." Because on the other side of bereavement, on the other side of abandonment, on the other side of broke, on the other side of betrayal, on the other side of diagnosis, and on
Here.
the other side of rejection, there is a win over there. You just got
Absolutely.
to get on the other side of it.
Gotta get there.
You
And
got
then this a lifeline. And sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm just waiting on God. God is gonna heal me." Well, God is throwing a lifeline out to you right now with the Coach My Life weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Will you grab the lifeline that is in front of you by being present so that you can walk in that healing? Too often we say
Absolutely.
we waiting on God, and God is like, "I'm waiting on you. What you gonna do?" I'm waiting on
Absolutely.
you.
I'm waiting on you. Can you show up? I've showed it to you. And I think sometimes we keep thinking like, you know, he'll give me another chance. He's giving you what you need right now. Somebody
Yeah.
has been saying, God, I need something different. God, I need a different community. I need to see you differently. I need to understand if this is possible for me. Baby, it's possible for you. It's
Woo.
possible. That abundant life that he came for you to have, that's your life. It's waiting on the other side of your rejection and your betrayal and your bereavement and your abandonment and your broken, your diagnosis, because you're living right now, you're living in those experiences. And you don't. And so we talk about this all the time in Chase Great University, or with our coaches in our community, is that you have to be willing to face those traumas so that you can heal from them. You can't help until you heal.
We.
So we want you to make sure that you are at the weekend. And I'm gonna give you one better. If you want to come to the conference and you like jazz, I want to be there. I need a little bit of help. Inbox me. If you inbox me, I have a code for you where
Yeah.
I can get you 50% off of general registration.
Woo!
Everybody can't do that for you, but I can do that for you. No, I can do that in almost all of our coaches, all of our panelists or our workshop facilitators have that same code. So you can get to me, you can get to Latresa, you can get to grief coach Elise, you can get to forgiveness coach Sandra, and you can also get to Brittany Collins, who we'll be meeting with on Thursday. Any of them could give you that code, but you don't want to miss this opportunity. My co-host is telling you guys, if you don't heal, it won't work.
Ooh-wee.
If you don't heal, it won't work. And so what and this is a virtual retreat. So this is for you to grab somebody to come with you. Grab your good girlfriend, grab your sister, grab that coworker that you work with every day and you see, you can start to see what she's experiencing. Grab that coworker. I tell you one better, grab your boss.
Come on.
Grab your boss and say, hey, I want us in 2022 to move forward differently. And I want to work better with you. So I want us to go to this conference together. As a matter of fact, the company should pay for it. I mean, I'm just going to throw that out there. Tell your boss the company will pay for it.
My.
But tell your boss you want to be in this room. This is especially if you are in a leadership capacity. This is good for you to be in the room to lead your team differently, to show up at work in 2022 differently.
Come on here.
You want to do that differently. Grab your boss, grab your sister, your mama, your cousin, grab your grandma. Grab those people because we're going to be breaking some generational curses in this conference because there are some things that you carry in your grandma's rejection. And some of us is carrying the abandonment that our mothers experienced.
Come on here.
So in order for you to heal from those things, we got to face those things. And so I'm urging you to be at this conference because, as I always say, you want to be in the Zoom room. If you've ever attended anything that Chase Gray University has ever done, then I urge you to be at the Coach My Life weekend, December 3rd through the 5th. Latresa, back to you because this is what we do. And we gotta do better. We gotta do better. I miss my co-host, but I'm so glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. You know what? Healed people lead to greater productivity, which leads to greater profits.
Mm-hmm.
So any manager, supervisor, get your people in the room. You want healing to manifest on their behalf because it actually has another product for you. Not just, you want them to be healed, but you want it to also be a benefit to you as well. It's worth the investment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have had a great time. So I do want to ask you this. If you could share just one tip. I know that there are processes and I know you got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s, but if you could give us one tip in the area of your expertise, what would it be?
The one tip that I would give you is to offer yourself some grace. And the reason why I say that is because one of the things that I can reflect on with myself is I felt like because of my upbringing that I should have quickly got done with my grieving process.
Mm.
And it caused me so much stress because I couldn't write any book. I wasn't writing anything I didn't want to write. And I got people reaching out for all this other business stuff. I was done with all of that. And so then I remember being angry with myself because I was still grieving. Somebody that's still angry with themselves because they haven't been able to shake the grief. Listen, when the body goes through something so traumatic, it's hard to just shake it off and get up and walk. That's culture. Culture tells us, especially as African Americans, that we are to just pick ourselves up by our bootstraps, shake it off, and keep moving. But baby, you got injured. You got hit hard. It's okay to offer yourself some grace as you continue to press your way on this healing journey to wholeness. So that's the one tip that I would say is offer yourself some grace.
I love that. I love that. Give yourself grace. I know that's something we talk about all the time. You have to be okay with being where you are. Give yourself time to process through that. It was something that you said that I wanted you to kind of expound on. You said, give yourself grace because there's not a real time frame. And I think sometimes people think that there's a time frame with dealing with bereavement. So I want, if you could talk about that a little bit, like there being no time frame, or what are some of the processes and steps of, going through that type of loss?
One of the processes in going through that type of loss is writing. And it can be something as simple as writing a letter to the person that is gone. Because sometimes we're upset and our healing is put in a stagnant position because we're holding that person accountable for things that they can no longer fulfill. They're gone, but you're still angry. So we probably need to write a letter to them, releasing them, forgiving them for things that they didn't get a chance to fix while they were still present. So one step is writing. Another aspect of writing could be writing exactly how you feel in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So doing some journaling. When I think back, because this is something when I was trying to figure out what God was calling me to, and when He said bereavement, I'm like, He showed me that from childhood on up, I've always been writing. I remember having different journals and I wrote exactly how I feel. And I was sevens. I'm writing something. I remember being upset with my grandmother and I'm writing how I feel and left the journal on the counter, knowing she's going to read it. She would read it and be upset, but she wouldn't say anything because she read my journal.
Mm-hmm. She could tell you.
But I needed to get it out. Too often we hold on to all of our emotions and feelings and it comes out physically. It comes out in different ways that causes more damage to those who you love than what you desire. You don't desire to cause them damage and hurt, but you pass it on when you don't deal with the pain that you're going through by healing.
Absolutely. I do want to give our audience time. If there's any questions in the audience, I did see that Jody said that didn't work this time. So Jody, if you can give us a little bit more insight on what you mean by that, while we have our mindset coach, Miss Latresa, here right now, maybe she can kind of give you some insight. I know sometimes something you said was we didn't get to say it to them, so we are upset with them for something that they did that they didn't get to ask for forgiveness for. And I just love how intentional this conference is, because when you talk about rejection, betrayal, bereavement, diagnosis, and broke, those are all they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when you talk about somebody hasn't forgiven somebody in their loss, in their bereavement, somebody else is feeling like I'm not even mad at what they did to me. I'm just mad because they left. So even in my bereavement, I just feel abandoned, right?
Right.
I don't even feel like he did anything to me or she did anything. I just feel like she left me. She should have fought harder. She should have stayed a little bit longer.
Woo.
And so I feel like those in having this conversation, I can see the connection of Miss Sandra, Coach Sandra. I love you so much, Coach Sandra. Coach Sandra talking to you about betrayal, and Brittany talking to you about rejection. And I can see our dad coach talking to you about abandonment. And I can see why our vision coach Latoya is talking to you after that broken mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see why our grief coach Elise is talking to you about after diagnosis, because that diagnosis may not have been your diagnosis.
Woo.
That may have been somebody else's diagnosis who left you because they didn't get to win after their diagnosis.
Absolutely.
And so here you are stuck because you are holding on to all of these things. And then Latresa is going to talk to you about winning after the bereavement of it all. This just made me so excited about the conference.
Come on here. I mean, pain owes you return.
Listen. Can you say that again?
Pain owes you a return for all that you've gone through.
Absolutely.
There's somebody waiting on a story that only you can provide.
Absolutely.
You're the one that went through it.
You went through it.
There's so many steps in your story, and they're struggling, trying to figure out how to get through what you've gone through. And what better way to exercise the kingdom authority that God has given you than to write it out? You know?
Listen, let me tell you, it's so crazy because I'm a writer. So when I am going through or full of stuff, I pull out my phone and I write. This was today, and I wrote that you have to be willing to be honest about your own traumas, shortcomings, experiences, and wounds. You have to be open to saying this happened. I experienced this, because most of the time what you've experienced, where your shortcomings are coming from, where your traumas are coming from, it came from somewhere. Something happened. Like you talked about, if you're not doing this, that came from loss.
Yes.
You're afraid to face the loss that you experienced. So you got to be honest. You got to be willing to be honest about your traumas, your shortcomings, your weaknesses, your experiences and your wounds. Mm-hmm. And so it's always you. You got to do better. Okay, listen, I really feel like this was needed. And let me say this was needed for me. When I tell you, I literally have been struggling with that duality, like that's where we're missing it. Like we're missing it because we're forgetting that there is the spiritual side, there is the practical side.
Yes.
Unless you are willing to deal with both of those things, there will not be total healing. There will not be complete healing. You cannot completely heal until you can say, okay, God, I'm coming back to you. I'm fixed. I gotta fix this. We gotta work on this, God. You know, I gotta rebuild and maybe reestablish my identity in you.
Come
I
on.
know who I am in you, God, you know, and then I got to come over here, and because I know now I understand who I am in Christ and who He's created me to be. Now I got to come over here on the practical side and understand how do I practically deal with who I am now, because after the loss, right, after the rejection, after the betrayal, after the abandonment, after the diagnosis, and after the broken mindset, you're not the same person you were before
Not
those
at all.
experiences. So you got to understand who you are on both of those sides, and so. You want to be at this conference? I gotta say this one more time. I'm excited for this conversation. I needed this conversation.
I'm excited.
December 3rd through the 5th, the weekend, Coach My Life weekend, December 3rd through the 5th, 2021. You can certainly register at coachmylife.com. And if you want that half off discount code, come see me because I have it. Or you can see any of our other workshop facilitators. Minus Latoya, she does not have it. She don't even know what it is because I won't tell her. Because then everybody be like, Toya, what is it? I won't tell her. So you can come see me. I love that she said balance is necessary for breakthrough. Absolutely.
On here. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And definitely, I love what you said, Jazz, as far as rediscovering your identity. We are, if we're saying we are Christian, which means we are children of the Most High God. If you're a child of the Most High God, then you are royalty. If He's the King of Kings, then you have to be royalty. And royalty makes decrees. Right? Decrees. They actually, when you think about the king's seal, whatever the king wrote or the queen wrote out, they put that seal on there. That's settled. That's it. That's the level of authority that God wants you to walk in. And so when you're talking about winning after bereavement, you're saying, Lord, I'm ready to stand in my rightful position. I am ready to stay and be the daughter or the king for those who are guys who are joining, to be the person you've called me to be by operating in the authority that you've given me. And guess what? The enemy, he came in as a flood, but you've risen up and standing against him, and I'm ready for my return.
Hence the name Royal Clarity View. You have to get clear on the fact that you are royalty and understand what that means for you. What that means for you, if you decree a thing, so shall it be.
Come on here.
You have to get back to understanding who you are. So we say all the time, who I am and whose I am.
Yeah.
You got to understand your lineage.
Woo! Come on here.
Understand your lineage and what that means for you. That means, hold on, wait a minute. That's my daddy and he the king. Oh, so I am a queen.
Yes.
Therefore, if I decree a thing, it shall be. And so I understand Royal Clarity View. And I understand now why God has been saying, hey, since 7, I'm going to, you will take some hits. Woo. You're going to take some hits since you were 7 years old, losing your mom at 7, losing your father in 2011, you know, losing your grandmother in 2020, February, after being a newlywed for what was that, 2-3 months?
5 months.
And then your grandmother lost when you were married for what, 2-3 months? And then your husband saying, I know I'm new to this family and I know I just married her, but I got her, I'm gonna take care of her. And then you lose him 2 months later.
Right.
And then yet and still, in the moment of getting ready to prepare for this conference and getting ready to prepare for this conversation, you lose someone else.
Yeah.
So what knocks everybody else down? What bereavement will knock somebody else down, right? It'll knock somebody else down. Ooh. But God says in bereavement, you'll stand. You'll stand in bereavement.
Oh my.
So you stand in bereavement, but yet you're going to be able to help other. This is amazing. I'm done. I feel like we just need to open the doors of the church, put an offering, put a cash app up to put your offering in.
I was so hurt yesterday. My supervisor, you all right? I said, no, I'm not all right. Whereas in the past, I would be like, I'm okay. Then, try to hurry up, dry up any tears. I'm not all right. you know.
Listen.
And I took the time to deal with my identity again. Because see, when I talk about royal clarity view, you got to go back. Sometimes you got to go back to your identity. Who am I? You know, who is my daddy? You gotta know who your daddy is. Even if you don't know, and that's why I love we got a dad coach. Even if you don't know your natural father, there is a father who knows you, and you still have a daddy. If you Christian, you still got a daddy. You need to know who he is, how he operates. Because
And
guess
you
what?
didn't
He
know
got
that
that
he knows
same
your
good stuff
name.
in you.
He knows your name. So
Come
even if
on.
you don't know who he is, he knows who you are. He
Woo.
knows your name.
Yes.
So when you know who he is, you know who you are. And it's funny when you start talking about going back and looking at your family tree or going back and remembering who you are. I saw that what is it? Not 23andMe. What's the thing everybody was working on when they were like building their family trees electronically? And it was like,
Uh,
oh, like
it's
my mom does it all the time, but I know my mom came back and said, oh, I know
Ancestry.
ancestry.com.
Yes.
You got to know your your line. Know who you're related to. Know where you come from. You are his child, and
Come
because
on.
you are his child, you are royalty. Royal clarity view.
Yes.
Latresa.
Latresa, you got
I'm
me.
saying it right, but I hear Toya in my head every time, like I'm saying it wrong. I'm blaming it on her. So listen, this has been amazing, phenomenal. There is always a good time when I'm with you. Always.
Same here.
As her coach, so I was coaching her 101, and our calls always we always went over. We always went over because our conversations, although we did get our work done, so if you I know you watching, we got our work done too. But the conversations that you get to have with like-minded individuals and with community is important, and that's why not only at the conference are you able to go to these workshops, there are some sessions that are built just for conversation. There's some fireside conversations that will be taking place so that we can continue to have these type of conversations, because community is important.
Absolutely.
Community is important because sometimes like our coach said today, you have to give yourself some grace, but you don't want to stay in the grace that you give
Come
yourself too long.
on.
So you want somebody to be able to say, okay, you done, oh wait, come on back,
Come
because
on.
and that's, you want that accountability, and it has to be there for you. That's what Chase Great University is all about. It's about building the community, helping to clarify who you are in the coaching industry, clarifying your niche. So we want to make sure that you understand these things, but to be able to have these conversations, I really feel like the conversations at the fire is going to be amazing.
Oh, I can't wait.
Having those fireside conversations is going to be amazing, because that's what we'll be able to deep dive and really address some of the things that you guys are feeling or experiencing.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It is going to be so amazing. I mean, it's heavy hitters out here.
Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all. So let me tell y'all, I'm gonna just do this real quick. You get a dad coach, Demetrius Early, talking to you about abandonment, winning after abandonment. You get grief coach Elise Perry talking to you about winning after diagnosis. You get our very own Latresa Rice talking to you about winning after bereavement. You have Sandra Cobb, our forgiveness coach, talking to you about winning after betrayal. Then you have our marketing coach, Brittany Collins, talking to you about winning after rejection. And then you have the founder, the vision coach,
Come on here.
talking to you about winning after broke. And not just financially being broke. I'm talking about mentally being broken, the broken mindset. And to just make it all so much better, you got me navigating you through the whole thing, I'll be there too.
Oh.
And I just found out that's your birthday weekend.
It's my birthday. I'm actually speaking on my birthday.
Come on. Ain't that a gift? Don't he keep giving you gifts?
What are you doing?
I'm gonna give you the gift of doing your purpose on your because I birthed you on purpose, right? For purpose, right?
Yes.
I tell people you were created by purpose. He is purpose, right?
Yes.
On purpose, for purpose.
Come on here.
And so
I'm grateful to be able to do it because I didn't know if I would see 41. So I'm grateful. December 4th. That's my
41, come on, somebody, listen, and looking like she about 25. So even through all of the bereavement, even through all of the struggle, she ain't even aging. Come on, somebody. The Lord said we be a little bit more favor. Since I'm gonna send you through so much, I might as well let you look good while you're going through it.
Thank you, Lord.
No. I'm excited about the conference. This has been an amazing conversation. I did miss my partner in crime, our founder, our vision coach, Latoya Early, being present with us. But I do know that if she was present, we would probably just be in the middle of the conversation because tonight she would have been, she'd have been, hold on, wait, Jay, one more thing. So her absence is really the only reason why we ended on time because you're gonna kill me. I love you. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. But I'm so excited about this conversation. I'm so excited about the conference. Any last words before we close out?
I just want to say that this has been amazing. I'm grateful to be here. And I just want to speak to the person that's wavering. Should I get my ticket? Should I not get my ticket? Listen, I've been that person. And a lot of times when an opportunity presents itself and you do not grab hold of that opportunity, you wind up in regret. So if the thought came to your mind, or if God has told you you need to get it, baby, will operate in obedience and get your access to this conference. You will not be sorry. It is so powerful. There's so much that is going to go forth here, and you need to be in the room. And the Zoom room is what you call it, right? You need to be in the room. Don't be the one that get left behind and still carrying the same bags that you've been carrying all this time when God has allowed you an opportunity to take stuff out of that bag, to no longer carry that in 2022.
You said it. You said it. And all I heard when you were speaking was, we always say new year, new me, right? Your now determines your next.
Come on here.
What you do right now is going to determine what your new year looks like, right? And so what you want to do is you want to create a new mindset, right? If any man be in Jesus, he is a
new creature. Come on here.
So you want to be new, you have to do something now to be new next. You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to end this thing because I know we can stay on here for another 20, 30, 40 minutes. I'm going to end this. I'm going to end this, and I'm going to end this with this. This is the moment where we can laugh and we can joke and we can share nuggets and we can share jewels and we can do all of those things. But we're about the transformation of it all, right? So if you are looking to do something different, grab somebody. I'm telling you, don't do it by yourself. Grab your good girlfriend, grab your sister, grab that coworker. Get you a good hotel room for a few days, because this is the time for you. Tell your husband, honey, I love you, but you got to get the kids. I'm going to go over here, and it's time for some renewing, right? It's time for some renewing. So the renewing of our minds, that's the scripture. So it's time for some renewing. So honey, I'm going to go, but I'm going to come back better for you. Tell somebody, grab somebody, and you and your partner come to this conference December the 3rd through the 5th, the Coach My Life weekend. You can register at www.coachmylife.com. We will see you on Thursday. We'll see you guys on Thursday with another coach and another conversation. Good night. Oh, I want to say I'll see you in the community. But if you're part of Chase Great, see you in the community. If you're not, get in the community. If not, we'll see you Thursday on the live. Good night, guys.
Good night.